Georgia Perry coming to you live from the middle of fucking nowhere. As you can hear, we're having a wonderful time out here. But wait, did I mention the sponsor? Money Cosmetics. The cosmetics that you wear and leave a good impression when there's absolutely nobody around.
On the city.
Everett and I had developed two projects prior to this, and they were both rather more expensive. And I said to him, could you give me something that takes place in one room, like Patrick, which was really quite a cheap film? And he said, could it be on a boat? And I said, I suppose so. And that's where it started.
I think I read a version of the script maybe 9 months or so before principal photography. I thought this is quite an interesting idea. It's a bit of a ghost story, and it's kind of, I thought it would be an interesting challenge in that 85% of the film is with one woman alone on a yacht in fog at sea. And how do you make that interesting?
I saw the title of Visitors. I wondered what it meant, and I was intrigued at the format, that she actually was caught up in the doldrums and had hallucinations and so forth. And visitors from her past entered her cabin and into her thoughts and occupied her time. And of course, being in the doldrums for that amount of time, I can understand people actually have gone stark raving mad in the doldrums. But it was such a unique storyline. It sort of lived for me.
And again, I'm not exactly the genuine article.
No.
Well, I had a fair innings. Knew it was going to happen. Now, come on, stop the snivelling. You're supposed to be the strong one.
You said that you would wait.
There you go. Let you down again, didn't I?
The psychologists would tell you that this all comes about because of sleep deprivation, that people at sea who have to set their alarm clocks every 20 minutes so as not to crash into other craft, after 6 months of this are suffering acute sleep deprivation. But the parapsychologists would tell you that Davy Jones' locker is a very long-standing and hallowed institution.
I love the idea of this journey that a girl is taking, a young woman's taking, both symbolic and, or metaphorical if you like, and literal. The whole idea of taking a year off and going around the world is a great idea. And sorting out baggage that she's accumulated up to this certain moment in her life and moving on. So that appealed to me.
Not her.
Actually, if it's close, it's much better than if that's close to that, yeah. That's
Even after having shot the film and spent 2 months playing it out, I couldn't really tell you whether they were real or whether she imagined them or whether they were ghosts or what ghosts are. Or I think it was sort of, I think the way the film plays out, it's all kind of like stream of consciousness, just sort of like a series of experiences, and some of them are real, some of them are hallucinations, some of them might be actual encounters with ghosts or not. I couldn't tell you, but it's sort of, I think the film is really interesting in the way it doesn't resolve that, and I don't think it would by the end of it. It's sort of, you just go with what she's seeing and that's what's going on. Whether that's real or not real, who knows?
Radha I had met in 95 or 6 when I was at Cannes with Hotel Sorrento, and she was there with Love and Other Catastrophes, and I thought she had a wonderful sort of innocent quality and that the camera loved her. And so when, as always happens in these things, you're trying to raise the money, the list of usual suspects was drawn up, and when Radha's name came up as acceptable to our distributors, I thought it would be great to have a chance to work with her. I also visited her on the set of Pitch Black and thought she was doing a great job there.
Dr. Leonard said that you'll be out in a few weeks.
I wouldn't trust that man further than I could throw him.
Mum, the people here seem very nice to me.
The place is crawling with freaks.
She's got a lovely sort of reality, Radha. She's obviously incredibly photogenic and looks lovely, which is very nice, but she has a kind of really nice, no-nonsense kind of attitude in life, and I think she probably brings that to Georgia.
I think it's a journey into a young woman's mind that is on the brink of mental breakdown. The thing that really makes this film a bit different is that Georgia is left with physical scars from these ghosts or what have you. So, you know, there is that element of, wow, is it true or not? So it leaves you with that feeling of, you know, maybe this thing is, real encounter with supernatural forces and stuff.
George, listen to me. You got to keep it together or Mono's going to pull the plug. There's been a reshuffle. The new people are worried about your image.
My image? Yeah, I knew there was something else I had to worry about.
Frankly, I'm more worried about your mental state. And so is Casey.
Okay, good. One more, yeah, absolutely. Not. I think containment is a great asset. At the time Hitchcock was making Lifeboat, he said that it would be possible to make a thriller set in a wardrobe, but you just had to have the right ingredients in the wardrobe, or rather, you had to set the character up the right way before you put them in the wardrobe, as he did with Janet Leigh in Psycho.
Obviously this has mainly been written to have one main location, which is our yacht. And the production designer did a great job doing the interior of the yacht, and also we had to have the very difficult task of getting a becalmed sea and fog, which was tough. But again, the production designer came to the fore. We built this amazing tank, put our 38-foot Beneteau in the tank, encased it in blacks and fogged it out, and it's absolutely amazing.
Basically, it's an old technique, which is probably 1930s, 1940s filmmaking technique, called a horizon tank, where you have a lip of water cascading into a sump tank, and behind that you either have a real background or you have a painted background like we have. So you have a perspective point which then facilitates the illusion of the yacht sitting becalmed in the ocean. This has been a good challenge. It's been an interesting challenge to have a yacht exterior in a horizon tank, to build the interior of the yacht, to scale the interior of the yacht to a workable size but still make it believable on film. We made it removable sections. Virtually everything in the yacht was removable. Either one side, the other side, part of one side, part of the other side. The interior was designed from the interior of the Beneteau, which is behind us, and lengthwise it was increased by 20%, widthwise 20%, and heightwise 10%, which then came down to a combination of discussion with Ellery Ryan, the director of photography, Richard Franklin and myself about sizes of lenses, how it would be shot, and I think what you've just seen on film proves that it can be done. You know, your tools really are light, and so I try to think of time of day and how that would change, and what perhaps the lapping of the water, what it looks like when there's a heavy fog. What about when it's a heavy fog but it's warm, a heavy fog and it's cold, a light fog, a little bit of sun trying to break through, and all this kind of subtext of perhaps this is all created out of her mind, so it is emerging from within her, and you just kind of work on these subtextual ideas and see what you can come up with concrete ideas of framing and lighting. Rich is very good on framing, he's terrific. Brilliant shots he thinks up.
Some of them which take forever, of course, which we shouldn't be doing on this kind of budget, but it's a lot more fun than shooting it in a mechanical style. In theory, this is like an old Conrad Hall quote, that it's great to go onto an interior set because you start like God did, with nothing. You start with blackness, and in theory you can have anything you want.
The visitors are of all kinds. I was fearful of doing a single-hander, having come perilously close with road games, and so I said to Everett, if we're going to make a film called Visitors, I want lots of visitors. So we have all kinds, from very real pirates, Indonesian, well, Asian pirates, and a stowaway, to really quite surreal manifestations of her mother, and all sorts of variations in between, and a number of people she doesn't know at all.
These visitors are very much product of isolation, strong and intense imagination, and certainly in Carolyn's case, feelings of guilt, George's feelings of her own guilt, her own lack of interreaction with her mother in her early, early life and her adolescence and so on. And also the fact, that she sees her mother drinking, she sees her suffering from acute depression, she sees, and she knows that in some way or other she has had part of it. So I think these are kind of manifestations of George's feelings about herself, and very much, of course, the fact that she's out at sea, she's alone.
The faith in one's own confidence, the growing of one's character, from insecurity to battling with all the elements of failure, and having gone through that growing up experience, and actually achieved it and said, well, I can do anything now.
Well, I think internationally the psychological drama genre is popular, and as I said earlier, it is definitely Richard's forte.
It's good to work with someone who's very precise and specific about shots and how things are put together, and I think his vision's very clear, and he has sort of practices and techniques, like he's always carrying around a shot list, and he's just very kind of precise. So it's good for me to work with that sort of precision, because I'm generally much more sort of messy in the way I deal with things.
I really like Richard. I think he's very, I find him very open to suggestion. And he's got a very nice sense of humour, which is nice. I also like, he's a very intent person, Richard. You really see him being extremely intent and really working and getting, and really nothing between him and it.
You feel comfortable with Richard. You trust what he's on about. He's very sure about what he wants, and that's always comforting to be around with directors who know what they want.
It's wonderful to work with a director who knows exactly what he wants. He has worked for years on this idea and the script, and he's living it. And I think he sees it himself through his own life on the screen. He sees the end result. And he makes you feel terribly comfortable when you walk on a set. You know that somebody is in charge. I've worked with people, when you walk on a set, you feel a little helpless, and where am I going? Because that man is not like a Richard, frankly. He hasn't made up his mind completely. And you walk on a set with Richard and he said, now this is what I want.